In this video, I will be taking a look at one of my comment sections. I will be addressing criticism there. It's the comments in this video. So just a quick word about this one first. So it's my first response to Shoe on Head on the subject of pedophilia. In that response, I try to explain why much of Shu's reasoning on that subject is just completely flawed, and she makes glaring errors. For example, she thinks that it's valid to compare maps or pedophiles to animal abusers. So I shall play you the clip.
A map is a minor attracted person. Basically, it is a cute little nickname pedophiles are giving themselves in order to get good PR. It's like calling people who stomp puppies to death doggy stumpy steppy boys.
Of course, the problem here is that if you are an animal abuser, someone is, don't want to insinuate anything about you, but if someone is, they can't be non-offending animal abusers. It's impossible because they, by definition, they've had to do the act. Whereas if someone is a pedophile or a map, well, there's nothing in the definition that necessitates that they have acted on that attraction, because those terms refer to the attraction. We have to keep that concept separate from the concept of molestation or the concept of child molesters. All right? So basically, Shu compares potentially completely innocent people to people who have hurt innocent animals. And I think just for that glaring error alone, I think my response to her was justified. But I go through other problems with her video as well. But so I highly recommend watching that video, because like I just recently watched it again and it was better than I remembered. I think it was just pretty solid debunking of Shu, in my opinion. But you don't have to have watched that video for this video to make sense. Anyway, while I thought that was a good video, I wouldn't take anything back. There are people who disagree, and that's why this video exists, because the comment section there is just out of control. I would hypothesize that it's mostly Shoe on Head fans there. They don't like to be referred to that, but I just think it's reasonable to speculate that if I'm going to make a video addressing Shoe on Head and I put her in the thumbnail, that you know, much of Shu's audience is going to be notified. They will see the thumbnail and they might be curious to hear what I have to say about her. So anyway, but that's sort of beside the point, which is that they are anti-pedophiles. They're in the comment sections. Just it's a complete clown fiesta. And I want the takeaway to be that it just seems that these people are really not capable of making a counter-argument to something I say. They just basically just try to make it personal, all right? And as you probably, as a smart person, I hope you're a smart person listening to this, you probably know that that's not how you debunk someone's message, is when you attack the messenger. You should address what they're saying instead of just making an insinuation, for example, that I'm a pedophile, because even if I were, well, they would still have to try to deal with my actual points. So, I mean, the comment section is just so bad you won't believe it if you haven't been there, but we're going there, so brace yourselves. So here we are in the comments. Now, first off, I want to point out that I'm sorting these comments by newest first. So in case you go to the actual video and you go to the comment section, you will see the comments in different order. I'm just pointing that out in case that surprises you. All right. I'm going to try to go through these comments rather quickly because there are a lot of them. I don't want this to take any longer than this really has to. All right. Now, the illegal Mexican feels compelled to impart me with following communication. Any argument here will be refuted as Shoe on Head simping. Don't waste your time trying to show any kind of dislike here. Now, I'm pretty sure this person can't find a quote where I dismiss someone's argument by claiming that they are Shoe on Head fans. Okay, I do mention the fact that there probably are Shoe on Head fans in the comment section, but I certainly don't disregard anyone's point of view by claiming so. I am at the loss of words. Why? Just why? Really why? This dude is disgusting. So you will notice a pattern here. Many of these commenters act shocked. Of course, the problem is that they don't explain what's so shocking. Like, they don't put a time code where the shocking part is, or they don't put a quote of me saying something shocking. Like, what's so it's very hard for me to try to improve my messaging when this guy isn't very specific about what part of my messaging is not correct factually. Now, this was a very supportive and kind comment by Jenny Bay, and she tends to leave these supportive comments, and they are very, very heartwarming. And in fact, I could actually show you that she has a few playlists. In case the subject is of interest to you, you might find these playlists useful. So just a little shout out. But I will not read this because this video focuses on the criticism, okay? So that's why you can read it yourself. So I'm just thanking her for the kind comments she left. So Tuka Mug Cheeks makes the following contribution. Is this seriously a video defending pedophiles? No, I'm just jokingly defending them. I just ironically think that there might be a difference between a thought crime and a real crime. Of course I'm serious about this. Then again, you see that there are people acting shocked. What in the cinnamon toast fuck is this? I mean, for real, this video is fucking disgusting. You are fucking disgusting. So as you see, it's almost an identical comment as left by this dude. Because that's another thing, like, you will notice that they are excessively unoriginal, these antis. But anyway, there's nothing to comment, there's nothing to respond to a contribution like this one. I can't really help this guy if he isn't any more specific about his criticism, like what part what was the problem with the video. So whatever. Alright, so this person says, a map is a pedo monster. Now, first of all, map is not necessarily a pedo. It's rather the other way around. A pedo is a map. Like, a pedo is a kind of a map. Whereas if someone is attracted to, let's say, 15-year-olds primarily, okay, now there's a map because they are attracted to minors. I believe in, like, most countries, that's 15-year-old is a minor under the age of consent. So that would be a map, but they wouldn't be a pedo because pedos are attracted to younger children. And then he argues they are monsters. Like, what do you respond to a person who says that someone is a monster because they have feelings, they have fantasies? So this is some sort of a thought tyrant, I guess. You're supposed to feel a certain way inside your head. All right, fine. And you should have a case open on you that all need to be said. That's all need to be said. Well, the grammar is poor anyway, no matter how you try to amend it. But yeah, I mean, this is another thing. Like, many of these commenters are implying that there should be police harassing me. There should be FBI onto me because of my YouTube video. The point is that they are just trying to silence me. They want to scare me to shut up because they are not interested in having this debate, it seems. Child is not a gender, so pedo map is not a sexuality. Well, I could argue that being attracted to the same sex is not a sexuality because that's not attraction to a developmental stage. It's completely arbitrary to think that that sexuality only pertains to gender. There's no objective reason why we should define sexuality that way. For example, think about words like sex crime or sex drive or sexual arousal. Now, we understand these terms perfectly, even though they aren't connected to, like, gender. For example, we can apply these terms to actual pedophiles. We couldn't apply those things to pedophiles and sort of make sense of those terms if the word sex or sexuality could only refer to gender. And there certainly is a pretty good scientific basis to regard being pedophile a sort of a sexuality, all right? An age orientation, to be specific. Gabriel Garbin feels that this is the message he wants to leave me with. You sick bastards get backlash because you deserve it. Now, I don't know about you, but usually when we talk about someone deserving something bad to befall them, it's usually that they've done something bad. Like that's the reason we throw people in prison. We don't throw them in prison for having done nothing. We do that because they have done something, and that something is bad. So there's nothing in the definition of MAP or pedophile that means that they have done something bad. So how could they deserve something bad to befall them? That's my question to you, Gabriel. Stop trying to normalize crime and get some help. Well, I haven't normalized crime. I don't think you can find a quote where I normalize crime. It's just basically you not really appreciating what these terms mean. You're not paying attention to what I say in the video, but whatever. Wise Cat says, pedophilia is illegal in the United States and wrong, end of story. Well, I'm pretty sure you can't quote me any law that implies it's illegal to be a pedophile. There's no mention of pedophilia or pedophiles in any legal texts. There just isn't, all right? Those are not the things that are illegal. It's illegal to act on it in certain ways. All right. Stephen Jordan argues, my God, you're defending this. You need help. Yes, I'm defending an idea that perhaps we shouldn't generalize all members of a certain minority just because some, like the worst examples of that population, commit crime. Okay, I would defend an idea that we shouldn't be racist against blacks just because some blacks do crime. Yeah, I'm defending that kind of an ideology. Isn't that shocking? You need help. No, I don't think I need help. I think I need you to muster up a counter argument to something I say. Can you do that? Guigon Rin argues, you're lucky I can't tell you what I feel. What do you mean you can't tell me what you feel? Everyone else in this comment section is perfectly capable of telling me how they feel, so what's preventing you? You really won't like it. Yeah, I probably wouldn't like it. I don't like many things. I don't like racists or homophobes, and I don't like anti-spewing crap in my comment section that has got nothing to do with the actual content of the video. Yeah, I probably wouldn't like it, no matter how you phrased your comment. And did you call a child a sentient animal? No, I never called a child a sentient animal. Now this pertains to the clip I played in the beginning of this video. I was talking about Shu's analogy between MAPs or pedophiles and animal abusers. I was just making the point that if Shu understands the difference between pedophile and a child molester, that logically entails that Shu thinks that having a fantasy, a pedophilic fantasy in your head is comparable, just as bad as abusing sentient animals. And by that I was referring to the puppies. Puppies that in the Shu's example, where there's a guy stomping puppies to death. So I was referring to them as sentient animals. So you have to pay a little bit more attention to what I'm saying in the video to comment that video. Boy, hope we never meet. Yeah, I hope so too, because you sound like a retarded asshole. Fuck off. Anyway, let's move on. Yeah, I'm actually starting to feel a bit amused. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling this is sort of entertaining to me at least. There are serial killers whose psychologists have determined that killing is their sexual urge. Fair enough. That seems to make sense. So in fact, they could claim it is their sexual orientation. I don't think it works that way. I see what you're saying, but we can still differentiate, I think, between a fetish, like a fetish to kill somebody, because I think that's a fetish. It's psychological. I don't think there is a neuroanatomical correlate to that. It's not that like we can identify their brains to be structurally different. And then there's a difference between that and pedophilia or being gay, which have neuroanatomical components. That's, you know, their brains are different structurally, okay? But, you know, it's all about how we want to define sexual orientation. So it's just, I don't think this is even that important to have this debate about whether it's a sexual orientation or not. I mean, it's still different from the actual act of molesting children. It doesn't matter whether we describe it as an illness or preference or orientation. I still don't think we should generalize all pedos just because some of them can't control themselves. All right? I think the argument still is valid regardless of what the fuck we call it. Still doesn't make it right. Still doesn't make it right. I'm not sure if this person is referring to the feeling, the urge to kill or to be attracted to children, or whether he's referring to the act of killing or having sex with children. Those are two different things. I would argue that I think I'm perfectly consistent here, because I don't think that if you have an urge to kill, you are necessarily a bad person. Let's imagine you can't do anything about it. You never acted on it. You know it's wrong to act on it. Well, if you have such an urge, well, it's kind of unfortunate, but I don't think that's an evil person necessarily, all right? And we certainly don't blame people who play violent video games. Okay, so it seems that we as a society kind of understand this difference between a thought crime and a real crime in that context. But when it comes to pedophilia, there are many countries who want to, in fact, outlaw completely victimless imaginary outlets, or outlets that are based on imagination, all right? Last time I checked, pedophilia is a crime. Now, there really should be like a drinking game on this. You know, whenever these people misidentify pedophilia as the crime or pedophiles as the criminal, you take a drink. But I can't recommend that, because that would be pretty unhealthy. You would get way too drunk, way too fast. Your defense of those types leaves you to be more than questionable. I suppose if I were defending people who commit crime, or I would be defending crime, but I'm not, as it so happens. There will be no forgiveness who manipulate and harm innocent children. Where have I said there should be forgiveness? This addresses nothing I'm saying in the actual video, so this is a straw man. As far as I'm concerned, you can burn in hell with your pedophile friends. I don't believe in hell. I don't believe in God that sentences people to hell to suffer for all of eternity just because they don't worship the God, just because they don't want to lick the God's feet. That sounds like a story that makes no sense to me. I'm personally not a very religious person. I'm not at all religious, but then again, like most people are, so I'm not really starting to rag on religious people now. But it's just, this kind of rhetoric does nothing for me. Even when I was a child and I was an atheist, I still was just, I mean, even then I was religious only because I was afraid that I would be sentenced to hell to suffer for all of eternity, just because I wasn't sure if my faith in God was strong enough, or my faith in Jesus Christ. And this whole idea that you would have the God would come up with only two places for afterlife. There would be hell with eternal torment, and heaven, which is eternal bliss. Why would that be sensible when you think about human beings? They are not either extremely bad or they aren't extremely good or virtuous. Most people fall between those extremes. So why would you have only two places to sentence people, as if they would be just that? They would be either just 100% evil or 100% virtuous. So the story just makes no sense to me, all right? A God that's perfectly wise would probably not come up with a system so bad. But anyway, this is completely beside the point. This video is not about critiquing religious people. It's about critiquing people who are much more evil, much more bigoted and zealous. All right? So whatever. To each their own. Okay? My view on pedophiles. Come close to a child and I throw your ass into an active volcano. Fine. I mean, this is a mildly amusing comment. So bravo, you made a joke. Go figure. My comment got deleted with saying that Shu pegged you correctly. Peace defending peace covered. And this is another thing. Like, I haven't deleted anyone's comment. I haven't ever blocked anyone. But these people keep saying I'm doing it still, because they can't figure it out that it's YouTube deleting certain comments that have certain words that YouTube doesn't like. So I'm just pointing that out to him. You said it a few times, pedos defending pedos. Or did you forget you attacked those that call your community out? I'm pretty sure I have never said pedos defending pedos, or pretty sure I never have hold the belief that only pedos would defend pedos, just like I don't think only gays would defend gays. Alright? It scares me how normalized this person making the video is talking about shit like this. The way I interpret this is that this person is shocked because I'm talking about this subject and I don't act all hysterical. I don't act all judgmental against pedophiles. And this is something that scares him. It scares that there would be individuals who might be a bit compassionate toward individuals who are less fortunate than most of us. All right, like if you are a pedophile, your life is more likely a bit more difficult. Also, this is the first video I've ever seen that has a positive dislike ratio. Yeah, it's not really that difficult to make such a video. All you do is take like the biggest W on the earth and you critique a famous YouTuber with million subscribers. And there you have it. That's the recipe for a video with a positive dislike ratio, in case you are interested. Completely irrelevant what the dislike ratio of my video is. I really don't care much. You don't see many channels that destroy themselves before they even he meant to say begin, so badly as this one. So, you know, it may be that I got a bit triggered by this comment, because this is it's just so silly to imply that my channel has been destroyed because Shoe on Head fans found it and just came with a big crowd to dislike it and leave these troll comments that have absolutely no relevance, that have no fucking hope of being reasonable critiques of anything I actually say in the video. Alright? So it's just so silly to imply that. You know, leaving these comments that are basically ad hominem attacks, so that's why I'm just referring to that point there. But then Hunter Hall is making the following point. It isn't an ad hominem to call an owl a bird or call a pedophile target practice, which like really makes me think that this person must really not this person must not really understand at all the concept of ad hominem, because that's exactly what an ad hominem is. When you just focus on the messenger, that's exactly what an ad hominem is. Like, even if I were a pedophile, even if it is target practice for you, it's just when you make it personal like that and disregard everything I say in a video that's 30 minutes long, it contains scientific pieces as evidence for my claims, and you think you can critique that by just calling me a pedophile? Yes, I'm pretty sure that constitutes an ad hominem, you silly retard. Edward Brooks feels it is necessary to make such comments. Shu fans, I believe it's more normal people that hate pedophiles. Laughing my ass off, what the fuck are you on about? Well, I like how this person seems to agree that Shu fans probably don't constitute normal people, in the sense that I do believe Shu fans must be a bit dumber than the average person. Now, this was in fact a decent comment, in the sense that the way I interpret this is that he's saying that pedophilia is problematic is when the person feels that they need help managing that condition. You know, when they feel they have to seek help, then there's a problem, and I agree. So I don't think what he means to say here is that pedophilia is unethical or immoral. I think he's just using the word bad to imply there's a problem. All right. So, you know, this was a fairly good, okay comment, and I haven't in fact read this comment yet, so we might as well read this because this is a very new one by Jenny Bay. Again, this is the kind person. Yeah, this is proof no one here actually watched this person's video. That's right, because except for the first part of the first sentence, because pedophilia alone doesn't cause child sexual abuse. You proved yourself that your friend is a map, yet doesn't offend in any illegal way. That is what this person in this video is saying, word for word. Yeah, exactly. I don't know what's so difficult about, like, if you want to leave a comment that's critical, don't, like, you would think that you would actually want to watch the video. If I don't like some anti, for example, and I want to make a video response to them, like, of course I watch the video, I play clips from their video, and I try to be very, very careful that I understand perfectly where they're coming from. I can't critique someone if I can't understand what their points are, what their sources, like what they are using as their sources. Now, I have gone through this, I've dealt with this thread already. There was a back and forth between me and this guy, and now, while we ended up disagreeing on everything, and while this person just completely misrepresents what I'm saying and misunderstands everything I say, almost everything, like when I point out to this person that children are less sexual than adults because they haven't gone through puberty. There's one point in this debate where it was necessary for me to point that out. The way this person responds to this is by saying that, you know, he thinks that the way he counters that point is by pointing out that in the media children are being sexualized, which is completely separate subject. Like, isn't the whole one of the problems with children being sexualized in the media the fact that they aren't natural, like they aren't sexual naturally, or at least they aren't as, you know, sexual beings as adults. So he completely misunderstood what I was trying to say there, and therefore didn't address what I was saying. All right, but you can find the thread yourself if you want to go through that, because there are like long posts here, so we will definitely not go through this in this video. This is grade 1. Holy shit. So Dale Hill argues, basically what I hear here is you way over analyzing what she's saying. I don't think so. I'm playing clips from her video, and then I'm responding to what she's saying, and sometimes, yes, I do go in depth when I'm trying to make a case, like when I try to explain and introduce the concept of loaded words fallacy. I'm trying to go in depth to explain what that fallacy means. So when I argue that that's what she was doing, you know exactly that my critique is valid. She is using loaded language in the very insidious way where she doesn't prove that pedophiles are like snakes, or there's a conspiracy, or they are preying on people's empathy, that they are doing these negative things. She just states that through her rhetoric, and I think I'm entitled to point out when she's being dishonest and doesn't meet her burden of proof. All right. I don't think there's any overanalyzing going on. Just my point. Knock off your passive pseudo-elitist psychoanalyst bullshit. I'm not a friend of psychoanalysis or a supporter of Freud. I do sometimes argue that it seems that many antis seem to project their own deficiencies. Like when it's so difficult for antis to believe that there might be pedophiles with impulse control, it just makes me wonder that are these antis talking about themselves because they don't have impulse control and they know that if they were pedophiles they couldn't manage it, they would have to rape children. They project that flaw onto others, in that case pedophiles. I'm just like, it just makes me speculate that are they talking about themselves? Analysis of what she, like many others, are saying. Yeah, she can be a little eccentric in her exaggerations, but not far off the mark. So this person doesn't think it's far off the mark to compare innocent people, which some pedophiles or maps are, to animal abusers who by definition can never be innocent. No, that's completely off the mark. That's so off the mark that you've lost sight of the mark, all right? So you're either someone, as I've stated, or an actual pedo trying to quash those who are onto you and your like. Again, it's irrelevant if I'm an actual pedo when you're supposed to critique my message, not me as the messenger. And she is, as many tens of thousands more globally are educating those who educate, inform at least that many more. Well, at least he got the smiley face right, because that's exactly my face right now when I read that gibberish. And then again, like this is literally not a language human beings are capable of understanding. All right, so this person seems like a crazy person to me. So either way, find something more productive, helpful to do with your time. You are not gaining any ground here. Yeah, if I were gaining any ground among shoe fans, I know I would be doing something horribly wrong. Pedophiles are dangerous, mentally ill people. Now, I'm not sure what do you mean by dangerousness. Now, this may sound like a stupid question, but it really matters because I think there are different types of dangerousness, and I have a video on this where I go through this claim that pedophiles are dangerous and how that, in my opinion, just doesn't really work as a very good argument against them. Like, are you talking about statistical dangerousness, that pedophiles are statistically more likely to offend against children? Then we can use the same reasoning to be against males in general, because males are statistically, across cultures, across cultures, they are statistically more likely to rape. Now, there are other, populations we could use, like poor people, because they have less to lose. It makes sort of sense that they are more likely to be inclined to, they are more likely to commit crime, just because they have less to lose. Just a fact, all right? People who are depressed are more likely to commit crime because of their mental health problem. It distorts the way they think, and there are all sorts of tragedies that can happen. If you're a parent and you're too depressed, you may do some awful things to your children, to your family. Now, should we be against all of these categories of people because they're statistical risk? And if you're saying no, then I don't think you are consistent, and that's the problem with using this argument against pedophiles. And when it comes to them being mentally ill, I've argued in depth about this topic as well. For example, in my video response to the first video response I got, I reiterate my position on this, where I just point out that what's mentally ill is determined by diagnostic manuals, DSM and ICD to be specific. And they don't really regard being attracted to children as mentally ill, even if that attraction is primary. There are additional criteria that need to be met, and one of them is they have to, experience marked distress over that condition, or they must have acted on it, which just points out that mental health problem is always a problem. It's always like mental illness is always a problem to one party. It's either something you suffer from yourself, or then you harm others around you. And if that criterion is not met, we can't talk about mental illness, even if we have an individual with a primary sexual attraction to children. Just a fact, just something you can actually glean if you read carefully enough those diagnostic manuals. But I do have the sources in the description of that video I just referenced, so it's there in case you are interested. So the same person says, I'm not entirely sure why he couldn't just type this in one comment, but whatever. Anyone who wants to involve children in their sexuality is a pedophile. No, that's not how you define pedophile. And by the way, there are these people called situational offenders. They do involve children in their sexuality or their sexual expressions, but they aren't pedophiles. And certainly when it comes to pedophiles, it's not about wanting to involve children in their sexuality. A pedophile might not want to be a pedophile in the first place. It's about attraction to children. It's got nothing to do with wanting to involve children in their sexuality. So I have dealt with this thread or these comments, but maybe I should just respond to this bit, because this is just silly. Like, there's just glaring problem with these short comments, so let's analyze it. Homosexuality is consensual, pedophilia is not. Like, the problem here is that you can't apply the word consensual to a mental state, to a preference. Homosexuality is a preference. You could argue it's orientation, yeah, but it's also a preference. You prefer the same sex. Pedophilia is a preference as well. Whether you argue it's an orientation or not, that's that's beside the point. It's regardless, it's at least a preference. It's in your head, all right? And let's say someone thinks tomatoes is their favorite food. It's a preference as well. You wouldn't apply the word consensual to a tomato preference. You wouldn't say that you prefer tomatoes, that's consensual. No, the word consensual just doesn't apply to a preference that's in your head. But of course, this person probably just talks about the action, the crime, just, again, misidentifying the attraction to the crime or conflating the two. Again, something that these people never get. They never learn, so you have to keep repeating it over and over. Now, this guy says, all pedos should get the death penalty. They should get the death penalty because they commit thought crime. Okay, I mean, I disagree. I don't think thought crime is a fucking thing, and that's one of the reasons I have this channel. I have this channel because I want to make sure it never will be a fucking thing. I want people to have the freedom to think and feel whatever they think and feel without repercussions. That's my liberal, maybe you would say that's a degenerate way to think about things, but that's how I feel about it. And anyone who supports the use of the word map is either a pedo or a groomer. Now, I disagree. I think that if you are using the word map, you may be using the word map just because you recognize that there's a problem with the word pedophile, that it's being misused, it's being misunderstood. And because it's used as a synonym for child molester, that basically means that we are losing that concept in our vocabulary. We are losing a concept that potentially could have been a very good way to refer to people who are attracted to children primarily. But because we are misusing the word, we are bastardizing and twisting the definition of that word through our everyday language use. Someone could figure out that maybe we need a new term, and then map is the word supposed to substitute the word pedophile. That's the way I've always thought about the word map, is that I almost view it as a synonym for pedophile because it just would make sense. It would make sense to have another word for the word pedophile because how tainted the definition of the word pedophile has become. Creepy. Well, I don't care. I really don't care much if I'm creepy or not. What I'm interested in is to hear a counter argument to something I say. All right. Get help, says James Webb. Again, the problem is like what kind of help should I get? I don't have a toothache. I don't have a stomach ache. Do you think I need help with understanding how logic works? Do you think I need help with understanding how science works? Do you think I might be a pedophile and I might need help with that? Like, specify what kind of help I am in need of. All right? Can you do that? Cool, gonna go gouge my eyes out now. So this is a funny comment by a funny person. That's no doubt a shoe on head fan. No doubt a shoe on head fan, and he's just trying to mimic her to be funny as well, because who cares about trying to have a discussion on this important subject? Let's just make jokes. Let's just act shocked. Okay? Devil Boy is here with this great comment. Go to jail. Again, like, you must remember that we have already been through these kinds of comments. Again, this is insinuation that I'm not allowed to have these opinions on the internet. I must go to jail because I don't subscribe to the ideology of the fantasy fascist, that what defines a man is their sexuality. You know, it's not their choices. It's not like what kind of a world they leave behind. Do they make the world a better place? No, that doesn't matter. It's just what they jerk off to. Again, this guy could have, I think it can be said that he could have combined these comments, but he just wants to spam, I guess. What the fuck? So yeah, I really have no idea how to even respond to a comment like this. Again, I don't know what's the big problem about the video. Now, I can concede that probably I make mistakes all over the place, but in that video, I think the video response to Shu was pretty solid. Again, I just watched it 2 nights ago, and I think it was damn good. I mean, you know, that sounds a bit arrogant, but I'm not an arrogant person. I think I'm not, all right? But I think it was pretty good video, so, and I want to improve. So if you have an idea how I can improve, you have to be more specific. Put a time code and explain that here you should have said instead this and this because you made a factual error. The source you used has been debunked by this and this scientific study. Or, you know, you could point out I'm using an incorrect definition of some term. But you're doing none of that. You're just making noise in this comment section. And maybe perhaps you can hear that in my voice, but I'm just not into this whole, you know, people acting shocked. I would like there to be debate on this subject, but you don't give me counter arguments, so it's very difficult to debate you. I just know the dislike button got destroyed to shit. And honestly, as it should. Yeah, it really shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone that if a small channel makes a video about pedophilia and criticize a big ass YouTube channel, there's going to be, you may see some indication that took place in the fucking dislike ratio. You know, I'm really that fucking interested in people disliking my video just because, like, I mean, that's another thing. Like, if you don't like someone's content, I would prefer you explain in the comments what's the problem with that instead of just do the easy thing, you know, just do the lazy thing and just hit the fucking little button, the dislike button, all right? And the only community pedos belong in is the prison community. Well, I think it's pretty hard or difficult for them to belong to a prison community when they are not criminals. Have you thought of that? In children, bro, you're fucked in the head. I don't want to even imagine what is on your hard drive. So there was a comment here, but who knows what happened to it? You know, I have my speculations about what happens to all these supportive commenters or allies to pedophiles. I have, you know, my speculations what keeps happening to these comments. All right. because I think these people are pretty fascist and have kind of proven it to me, year and year. Like for years, I have been censored off different platforms. It's been happening and happening for years and years. So I know for a fact that anti-pedophiles, if they see any opportunity to silence someone who disagrees with them, they will take that opportunity. And one way to do it is, hit these dislike buttons enough so the comment is invisible. Even I, as the owner of the channel, can't see those comments. I'm not sure if this is what happened. Actually, maybe the person could have deleted the comment himself, but I just know for a fact that it is possible to basically censor these comments like that. Like YouTube is just such a fucking mess when it comes to having debates on the comment sections. You can't use certain words, like I've said. I mean, just imagine living in this society where you want to have a discussion about pedophilia and you can't even use the fucking word. Words are bad. It's just like fucking from Orwellian dystopia all over the place. Anyway, that's a whole another subject. I just hate fucking censorship. I just really hate fucking fascist and censorship and YouTube's algorithms that block your comment just for whatever reasons. Whatever fucking reasons. So yeah, it's difficult to respond to this really because there's no reference. We don't know what who he's responding to. Now, this animated dog lover person, we have had pretty long discussions and debates, and I would say that while I would describe her as an anti-pedophile, she doesn't think she's an anti-pedophile, but whatever, that's not really the point I'm trying to make, which is that from all antis, this person has provided some good criticism. Not in this comment thread, this was kind of silly comment thread, but on another video, she actually made me realize something. Like through our discussion, I realized the difference between destigmatization and normalization. I realized that destigmatization is just you take away the blame element. You don't blame someone, whereas normalization has this pseudo meaning that it implies that something has no problem, that there could not be any problems relating to something. That wasn't very eloquent of me how I described that, but there's a difference between those concepts, and our discussion just clarified that to me. So, I want to thank her, I guess, because she's one of the very, very, very few antis who have made an effort at trying to argue against something I actually say in the fucking videos. Anyway, Slavic Viking is here with this comment, and there goes my little fate for humanity I had left away. And this is just brilliant comment when you think about it. When you think about my video, what I'm doing there is just I'm against people who slander minorities and imply, just generalize them, just insinuate that there is a conspiracy among them, just like there are some bigots who insinuate that different religious groups they are part of a conspiracy to take over the world or something. And because I critique Shu, it makes this asshole lose his faith for humanity. I'm going to tell you what makes me lose my faith for humanity. What makes me lose my faith for humanity is you losing your faith for humanity over my video. Asshole. And then this guy leaves a clown face. Isn't that special? Someone call 911. Yeah, because there's a thought criminal on the loose. You can't have them running around the internet. They might actually influence someone's thoughts and inform them and make them think for themselves, or make them think a little harder on a subject. No, we can't have those fucking thought criminals out there. The toaster is entering the bath right this moment. So this is another funny comment. He's killing himself because he realized how fucking dumb he is, I guess. Don't still kill yourself. Like, I'm not like it's really these antis who are very obsessed with this idea of killing yourself. They tell pedos to kill themselves, or they want to kill themselves, or they want other people to kill pedos. It just, you know, they have a great fixation on fucking killing people, these people. But we are the sick ones. We, the allies to maps, are maps. I mean, it's just so ludicrous. Clown. Now this is a funny thing, because I mean, just pay attention. This person calls me clown. Now let's take a look at her channel. Now this is a person that calls me clown. I am a fucking clown, and let's see his or hers great contribution to the YouTubes. That was so fucking insightful. That was so special. Now, if this person had actually taken a video of himself taking a shit, that would have been way more insightful, actually. Alright? So, anyway. That's completely beside the subject. I'm a bit like... I'm being way more long-winded than I should be, and I'm being distracted way more by these trolls. Maybe I shouldn't. You know, maybe this whole video is actually a big fucking distraction by trolls. I'm just starting to think that way, because I'm not... This really doesn't feel like I'm responding to criticism of anything I say, or criticism that deserves to be addressed. It's just fucking waste of my time. But the takeaway of this video is just meant to be that anti-pedophiles, generally speaking, can't make arguments. They are the opposite of an intellectual debater. They don't debate, and they are not intellectual. And they're actually, not many people probably know this, but it has been, there's research on this. Anti-pedophiles are actually, on average, less educated. It's just a fact. Like, if I call these people uneducated, that's not just an insult. That's actually most likely true. It applies to them. There are statistics on this. Okay, so y'all are nasty. Okay, such a useful contribution. So once again, we can see that there has been a comment here, but again, it has been, you know, purged. I think it has been purged by these people just hitting the dislike button enough, because there are many of them. You have to understand, there are many. Like, for example, this comment, "You are nasty," got 9 thumbs up. So there really are a great horde of angry triggered shoe on head fans in this comment section. They really are in great numbers here. But anyway, let's read this pile of shit anyway. So you are saying that because you like to molest little children, you have good taste. Now, we can't say for certain, but I'm pretty sure that's not what he said or implied anywhere. I don't think the commenters, my subscribers or people who might support me in some way, I don't think they leave comments where they argue it's okay to molest children. Anyway, yeah, again, y'all are nasty. By the way, I like grown men, so no, I don't like hags. I like men that act like men. Okay. Not weak sickos that like to ruin children's lives. Are there then anyone in this comment section who has implied that they do this to children or support people who do this to children? I don't think I've come across any comments like that. So that seems like a straw man. Fix your brain, psycho. Yeah, whatever. Go to fuck off. That's what I would say to you. I almost said go to hell, but then I remembered that no such thing actually exists. Okay, great work. That was a nice supportive comment. Thank you. I even gave you the thumbs up. Now notice something. I want to point out something. Now this comment has 40 thumbs up. It's almost as much as I have likes in that video. Just imagine. So basically, if you go to my video and go to the comment section, because I have the setting that the so-called best comments are supposed to come first. This is one of the first comments, in fact, you will see. So basically, what this means is that the shoe fans or antis, or whoever these bigots, whatever these bigots like to be referred to as, it doesn't matter. They have given so many thumbs up to this that it's in the top, and they basically think that this is one of the most powerful arguments against my positions. So let's read this. Let's read the greatest argument these antis could muster up. All right. It's not the sexual orientation. It's a criminal act. An offender should be punished with the full force of the law. So basically, one of their best arguments is just misunderstanding of the whole concept. Sean Polton responds, "Glad to see logical people in the comments section." He thinks that it's logical to just not pay any attention to the difference between having an attraction and acting on that attraction. That's logical to him. Jared Overbeck responds, "What the fuck?" Notice that it is identical comment to the one we already saw. So that's how original they are. They literally are typing the same crap. Like 6 thumbs up. Six people thought this is such a great contribution. This really showed the AscendingPleiades guy. Yeah, I'm so going to change my mind now. This was an interesting comment. I think this was a fine and decent comment. He's basically just explaining his own circumstance as a map, that he definitely feels that he has nurturing instinct toward children as well, and this relates to the point I'm making in the response video, where I just basically critique James Cantor's cross-wiring hypothesis, which states that in pedophilia these people's nurturing instinct has been replaced by sexual instinct. And my critique there is that I don't think there's evidence that we can say that the nurturing instinct is gone, that it has been replaced, that it's a literal cross-wiring. I'm just pointing out that I think it's more reasonable to suppose by some kind of a rational standard like Occam's razor that pedophiles do have nurturing instinct. It's just that in addition to that instinct, they also have sexual instinct toward children. Okay. So and then there's a smiley face by this guy. Very useful, all right? Go in a bathtub with a toaster plugged in. Again, notice the fixation with urging people to kill themselves, or the idea of killing oneself. Isn't this exactly what transphobes tell trans people, that they should kill themselves? I mean, it's just a fun thing for them to see when these people kill themselves, and that's exactly what I think that I see here. These people do to pedophiles, is that they urge them to kill themselves because it causes them great joy to just suggest that, even though we know that I think pedophiles do have an increased risk to kill themselves, that it's actually a fact, and it's kind of a sad thing. It's not something I think is it's really something we should take seriously and try to fix, in my opinion. But then again, I'm a liberal, and I'm a degenerate person who belongs to jail because I just don't like people suffering for no good reason, like suffering. If we can prevent that somehow, we can assist them. But these people are not in favor of helping pedos, because if they were, they would be okay with just removing stigma from the attraction, because we know that stigma is like #1 reason that prevents them from seeking help. We know this from actual studies. So it's not about trying to get pedos to seek help, even though they sometimes claim so, because they are not part of creating a world where it's feasible for them to seek help. They are just using that as a way to sort of trample on them and dismiss them and such. Another smiley. Hunter Hall again keeps spamming his shit. You are disgusting. Your life has less value than the dirt on my clothes. So this is another one of those people who define a man's worth by their sexual attraction. Let's just forget the principle of judge a man based on the content of their character, not the color of their skin, or in this case the content of their sexual fantasies or something. Let's just forget about these rational and principled notions about what constitutes a man's worth. No, what's important really is that they're attracted to people of certain age. People who are assholes, they're assholes regardless of their sexuality, what they are into sexually. Because there are people who are attracted to adults, just normally they're attracted to adults and they're fucking assholes. Because they have no character, alright? Or they have no empathy. They have no principles. That's why this whole idea where this person defines the other guy's worth just by noticing that he might have an attraction to younger people seems like completely stupid standard. Sus. So this is the new fashionable way of saying suspicious. You know, it's kind of similar comment like the creepy comment. Okay, fine, whatever. I mean, I admit this is a taboo subject. I admit that it seems a bit weird someone would defend this, but if you listen to what I say, I believe I do make fairly decent arguments, and so far people haven't addressed any of what I'm saying, actually. I mean, almost like I'm a bit exaggerating because there are comment threads where people actually do make the effort to address something I say. But you, the people I'm focusing on now, are actually contributing nothing to this discussion. Okay. Now this is a decent comment as well. But we're going to focus on the antis now. So, I mean, this video is getting so fucking long. It's just amazing. So I'm going to hurry up a little bit. I'm going to pick up the pace. So now this is a comment thread I have dealt with, and okay, so there's no need to go into this. This is a long one, so you can find this comment thread yourself if you are interested in it. But we are just going to skip all of this, all right? Because I'm already there commenting, and I don't know what's the point. These people don't get anything really. Defending maps, sick fuck. Yes, I'm defending innocent people, and some of them happen to be maps. I just don't generally like this idea that we blame people who have done nothing wrong, all right? I just generally don't like things like sentencing people to prison who are innocent, all right? Like, one of the great things about the movie The Shawshank Redemption, which is one of my favorite movies, is the exact fact that justice wins at the end, all right? Because the person who was imprisoned wrongly actually escapes, and the evil chief of the prison kills himself, all right? I mean, there's a person killing themselves in the film, so you might actually like that as an anti. Doesn't that sound great? I believe it's a top movie in IMDb, all right? The movie site, because people generally do like things like fairness. So I don't think there's anything sick about that kind of a mindset. FBI, yes, this video right here. Now, even though I have ragged on comments like this, where they insinuate I should be harassed by the police, admittedly, this is probably like one of the first comments, or this is probably the first joke that is like that. So this is the original jokester who made this point or joke. So I will congratulate them because at least it's being a bit original. These others are just making the same comment over and over, and it just ceases to be funny. It never was funny, but yeah, I'm really getting a bit tired, to be honest. So I will try to move on quickly to the end, because we are at the end, I believe. There's just a couple of things a couple of comments I still want to address, all right? I'm calling the police and FBI and military, my god. I'm currently tracking this man's location as we speak. Well, you've been at it for 9 months. How is it going? It doesn't sound like it's going too well, right? Based and chat build. Oh, fuck. These terms. You already know, like, what... You already know quite a bit about what this person may feel about certain things. You know, certain political things when they use those kinds of words. I may actually use them ironically only with like my like one friend maybe. I don't know. What's the charge? The charge is that I am a thought criminal. That's the worst crime. That's the worst type of crime that is for them. Because if what they really wanted to prevent is child molestation, for example, they would be interested in the fact, for example, that most child molesters aren't pedophiles. They are situational offenders. But these people who claim that they want to protect children, that that's somehow the end goal, somehow just completely ignore that whole fact. So it's just about pedos. Because the worst thing is really the thought. Like that's something that they can't tolerate, that you could have that feeling in your head. So I mean, maybe I'm speculating a bit too much, and maybe I'm not saying this is factual really. It just sometimes feels that these antis hate more the thought than the actual act, because again, they don't care about situational offenders. They never speak of them, in fact. It's not actually illegal, it's just a joke. Yes, it is a joke, but it is a it's getting very tired to hear the same joke over and over. So I realized I'm taking way too much of your time. So I'm trying to hurry up now the rest of these comments. So if you think I'm not addressing something well enough, or I don't give them enough attention, you think I'm missing some argument, disregarding some point made, you can post that in the comments. I will reiterate my positions. But then again, there's nothing to respond here, to be honest. So Kill Pedos, what a great nickname, says, if pedophilia is just a sexual orientation, then burying you all is just gardening. Well, I'm pretty sure that's not how logic works. Vaccines for sheeps. Oh, fucking hell, these names are so stupid. Dude, you are pathetic. Find a better way to spend your time. Yeah, I'm also starting to feel it's pathetic for me to ever have thought that you people could come up with a counter argument to something I say. So Haley Hemholge just asks if it's okay that she mirrors my video. So I say that that's great, that's fine, and in fact I feel quite flattered that there would be people wanting to mirror my video. You and your followers should be looked at by the FBI. What you just said had to be criminal. So both of these people are implying that there is a crime happening when the guy wants to mirror my video and when I'm making these videos. Again, doesn't that sound quite fascist? I think it sounds. Seanhead is right about a lot of things. Also, you have to take into account that she makes jokes, which it seems you've never heard of. Well, just because she makes jokes doesn't mean there's not a political message there, because there is, and that's what I'm addressing. It doesn't matter that she makes jokes. She doesn't just make jokes. She argues her ideology, anti-pedophile stance. So I feel that yes, I can critique her. Also, I'm bisexual and we will not accept these people into the LGBTQ community unless you get therapy. Well, I don't think it changes anything if they get therapy. I don't think the gays or trans people would still accept pedos because they want to throw them under the bus because pedos are not good for their optics. I'm trans and bi and I agree. By the way, that's great. That just proves my point even more. I don't think anyone has ever thought anything else. I don't think anyone is in denial of the fact that the LGBTQ don't like pedos because they are bad for the publicity, for the image of the fucking movement. But it's not like there's some good reason to exclude them other than, well, it's just convenient to exclude them because the gays and trans would get a backlash because of that. But maybe it would still be right. Maybe it would still be honorable, all right, to be actually consistent with your principle that you shouldn't discriminate people with different sexuality if they don't harm others. And I'm of course referring to non-offending pedophiles. We can make the distinction even in that subject, because the LGBTQ could be okay with non-offending pedophiles without actually agreeing in the act of molestation, just like the LGBTQ is okay with gays who have consensual sex, but I don't think the LGBTQ has room for gays who rape other men. You know, they definitely can make that distinction there as well. As long as it's two consenting parties and they both hit puberty and are about, say, 15, and there's no abuse or manipulation, I couldn't care less, but that's where I draw the line. Yeah, it's quite difficult to say where the age of consent should be. I don't have a definite opinion. I just know that in many countries there is a certain age when a person is above that age, they become criminally responsible. Okay, they can be tried at the court of law. So it would seem to make sense that that age is the same as the age of consent. But that's just me. So they're talking about the age of consent here. I have responded to this thread, so we will skip that. Now there's talk of prostasia, and basically I think I have responded here as well. So Haley is just asking if I saw the Pizzagate style video about prostasia, and I don't actually remember if I had seen that before she mentioned about it, or whether I went to see it because she mentioned it. But yeah, let's read my own comment. Yeah, and it was just too stupid. I guess I'll be making my next video about that. Yes. So anyway, this was before my second video response to Shu. Let's see. Celeron has this great. Celeron is here with his fantasy of killing pedophiles. And then this person says, a fellow sane person I see I can agree with. The person who actually wants to kill pedophiles. All of them. All maps, at least. Alright? But this is just bizarre that here, that this same person argues that, bitch, I ain't saying you are bad for having these thoughts. I myself sometimes do. I only have a problem with people who act on it. Well, then why did you agree with the person? Why did you say the person was sane when he definitely don't think it's okay to have those thoughts, when he wants to kill people who have those thoughts? He wasn't talking about people who act on it, but just people who are maps. Let's go and see the comment again. All these maps should get a 45 in the head. It's pretty clear that he's not talking about those who act on it, but just all maps. So not very consistent from you, but whatever. The stupid comment. This is a stupid one. They are not attracted to small children who's defenseless, because it's basically the pedophiles we're talking about here. They brutally rape kids that can't defend themselves. Well, I'm sure some of them do. Okay, some of them do those things. Yes, some people who are attracted to adults rape adults and kill them and torture them. So they're all like that? Is that how it works? I don't think so. And you disgusting piece of shit, defend these fucking inhumane sick people. Well, I know for a fact that Black Fang wouldn't defend these sick people, because in one of my videos, Black Fang with another account actually disagreed with the whole term of child adult sex, which I introduced. You know, I said that in some context that term might make sense. And Black Fang in fact disagreed with that term completely, because it doesn't explicitly say that it's abuse. So it's too neutral for him. And I appreciate that, I understand that point of view. But the point here is that how could Black Fang defend anyone who rapes children or has sex with them when he's against even the term child adult sex as being too neutral? So I think you just made that up. You made the straw man up because you can't deal with what he actually said. Of course, we don't know what he said because the comment has been purged by, I guess, these antis. Again, there's no proof. I can't prove that, and I don't even know that, but I have my suspicions that they have somehow managed to censor it. Let's move on. Pedophiles hurt children and destroy their innocence and damage them for their lifetime. Once again, yes, sure, some of them do that, but the question is that does this justify generalizing the whole population? And I would argue maybe not. I mean, definitely not, rather. That's what I meant to say, of course. Victims of pedophilia end up with PTSD and some turn to suicide. You can't be a victim of pedophilia because that's a state of mind, that's a preference in your head. All right? It's impossible to be a victim of pedophilia. You may be a victim of molestation, and that's probably what you meant, but you probably should still pay attention and use correct terms so people don't have to keep reminding you of the difference over and over. Pedophiles destroy lives. Also, non-pedophiles destroy lives. It's not like only pedophiles can destroy lives. No sympathy or empathy for anyone that destroys the innocence of children, whereas anyone said there should be sympathy or empathy for them. How is this related to anything anyone said? I don't think my commenters are here arguing in defense of child molestation. And certainly this guy is, because this is the same Black Fang dude who is against even the term child adult sex. So these people are just slandering him here in the comments. I think we are very, very, very close to the end of this fucking horrible pile of shit comment section. You do realize maps are pedos. Well, we've been over this, but actually Haley makes a very, very good argument here at the end. Nope, also Hebe and Efeb, but mostly non-offending, like any other human that does not violate people. So basically just pointing out that maps also include hebephiles and ebephiles, but there are people who don't like these different terms. They think that they all just mean the same because there's no such thing as nuance. Everything is black and white for these people. And this is just a brilliant response to what Haley said. Maps are pedophiles bot. So he's calling Haley bot, and his response is exactly the same as the one that Haley just debunked, because what this person could have done is type these things in Google and actually find out what they mean, because that would clarify the whole dispute, and he would realize that of course you can be a map without being a pedophile when you just understand the difference between this definition and this definition, or fucking this definition and this definition. Like it's very easy to figure how like all these four terms are related, but they are different things, and when you figure that out, this equation is solved. But they don't fucking care to research any of this, even if there are people, like helpful people like Haley, trying to help them out. But Haley is the bot. But this is actually a very good comment, like this the end one, the last one. Technically wrong, many are, but if your primary attraction is to 15 to 17-year-olds, that doesn't make you a pedo, but they are legal minors. That's exactly the point. Like, this is very well phrased. That's exactly the point. Pedos should be beaten to death. Again, we allies to pedos, and pedos are the sick ones who need help, that needs to be locked in a thought prison. But it's okay for antis to have these fantasies that they openly express. Like, when it comes to the idea of thought crime, don't you think these people commit way more overt thought crimes when they actually advocate for these things? They don't just have the fantasy that they want to beat pedos to death. They think it's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea to have sex with children. I'm just saying that as a thought, it's not really, I think, immoral. But they actually want these things to happen in real life. So somehow the same standards the anti-pedos apply to pedos don't apply to themselves, because it's okay for them to want these things, to kill people. So anyways, we are almost done. We're actually at the very fucking end of this comment thread, so it's just... I'm so glad I could do this. I could stomach this. I did have some breaks because I can take in only so much at a time. Okay? Although it was fun at times as well. Alright, let's move on. So this is another supportive comment by Jenny. Thank you for that. And we're done. This is literally the end of this fucking mess of a comment section. It's just, you know, I don't know, I guess I should have some conclusion here, but this video is long-winded enough, so I think I can just end it here, right? Because, I don't know, like if you did manage to see some comments, I tried to respond, I didn't respond it well enough, you can point that out, but don't you think that my takeaway is correct? That these antis are really not interested in having this debate at all. Like there was barely any mention of the actual content of my video in these comments. It was jokes, ad hominems, and threats. Did I miss anything else? Because for sure there was nothing of the kind of like and counter arguments. So anyway, that's been it, and I hope this was entertaining or something useful, whatever. It probably wasn't. But I felt that I wanted to address this criticism, because no matter how bad it is, I am making these videos on YouTube, and it would seem like a cop-out to just ignore some of the criticism. And to antis, I don't know, I'm not sure what I can say to you to make you understand that this channel is about debating. It's not about you doing much anything else. Like you can make jokes, but when I hear the same joke a million times, it ceases to be funny. And to be honest, I'm not allowing comments to be for the purpose of being amused by your jokes in the first place. I want there to be debate, and I want you to explain what's wrong with my worldview, and I'm all for refining it. Okay, like I have in the past. It's not like you can't change my mind, but you have to try, and how you try it is you pay attention to what I say. All right, and that's where it starts. You watch my video. That's the starting point. So that's all I have. Thanks for listening.